Hello, everyone. Here I am again. Here I am again. Now talking about Halo or 811AH. The reason behind this topic was actually last October during the WLPC conference in Prague. I was doing the same thing as a few of you guys, doing the CWAP bootcamp with Peter. And during the bootcamp, we were talking about power save mechanisms. So we were talking about target wait time, and it is not used in 2.4 and 5 or I haven't seen it. I think back then neither did Peter, but I was thinking, can I see this? Can I see this happening? Can I find this, or how can I capture it, or can I see it happening? So that triggered my interest, and then I was looking, okay, where can I find it? And I came to 811AH because it's a Wi-Fi protocol, but it's built for IoT purpose. Now my question: can I find TWAP or wait time? And to spoil everything, no, I didn't capture it. So I couldn't find it. So that's the end. No.
Well, thank you.
So, what's 11AH all about? It's published by IEEE in May 2017, so it's already 6 years that's been published. But only in 2021 it has been ratified, or Wi-Fi Alliance started its certification program. So it was pretty already 5 years old before Wi-Fi Alliance started certifying. The file name for 11AH is S1G. So if you look in Wireshark in the frames, you will see S1G. Now, 11AH was built upon, or they used the 11AC technology to build 11AH. And you're going to see that. So the channel width we use is 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 megahertz. Like with 11AC, we use 20, 40, 80, and 160 megahertz wide channels. So we're using the same numbers, but only 1/10 the channel width. Also for 11AH, we can use up to 4 spatial streams for an IoT device. Don't think that's going to happen, but well, we can. The frequencies we're going to use. So in the US, we have a frequency from 902 megahertz up till 928, while in Europe we can only use 863 to 868. So we don't have as much space available. In China and worldwide, we have other frequencies. So depending on your regulatory domain, we can use different spectrums. So, okay, I know now what I can use, how I can use it, but I was thinking, okay, how can I test this? I want to see it happening. I want to capture it if I can. So let's find me a I knew about Peter. He was having some demo equipment he bought. He was saying in Prague. It was this kind of security camera, this SceneTech security camera. It was using 11AH technology, but yeah, it was working. It was operating. So if I put my camera outside, I could see the video stream, but I could not configure anything about 11AH. So I could not see it, and even I could not capture it because I had no equipment. So I needed other equipment to do that. So I went looking at the Wi-Fi Alliance website, the product finder, and there I found a bit of equipment. 2 vendors, basically, Morse Micro and Duracom. Those 2 were building equipment that I could use. So the easiest to get my hands on was equipment from Duracom. So I got in contact with those guys, and I've bought some equipment. And Alpha Networks. You know them from the Wi-Fi dongles. They were having some equipment. I used a hat module for a Raspberry Pi, but I also use this because this was a finished product. It's built for 868 megahertz, so it's built for Europe. So I was using this to capture. I had two of them, so one could be the AP and the other one could be the client. So now I had my equipment, and now I was eager to start testing, because everywhere you read, Halo is all about extended coverage. You can have a large coverage, way more than you can have with Wi-Fi. Because we're working in 868 megahertz, so our wavelength is about 34.5 centimeters. So compared to Wi-Fi, which is only 12.5, it's a big difference. So they say you can have up to 1.5 kilometers. So that's my home office, which is there's my AP mounted in the upper left corner. There you can see it. So I've mounted on a tripod on a pole in my office. And then, very happy, I started, and I was driving through the houses or in my area where I live. And I went all the way back to the end of the street. And I was thinking, okay, I can have 1.5 kilometers. So at my laptop, at my Raspberry Pi screen, I had the camera also to do another test. I had my cube here as a client. So, and I was running a constant ping and an iPerf to my iPerf server in my office. And then I went, say, 500 meters away, and I had nothing. So yeah, that was a disappointment. So yeah, I went back to my driveway with my car, because that was my mobile office, which was the trunk of my car. And in my driveway, I did have connection. I was able to do an iPerf. Yeah, wasn't the thing I expected. So to put it in numbers, that was my house where the tube was mounted. 50 to 60 meters out of my house. That was the maximum distance. So, yeah. Yes.
What kind of power levels can you use in that range?
Depending on the country code, you can have different power levels. I used 17 dBm on this equipment, but I could switch it over to 30, which is not regulatory, but I could. But I didn't. I used 17. So I had 50, 60, or 70 meters, depending on where I was. So that wasn't what I expected, so I was a bit disappointed. I was talking to the guy who's Duracom. I said, okay, this is my situation, this is where I mounted my AP. Yeah, but you were doing it in building, so you're going to lose a lot of power and so on and so on. But still, it was better than my Wi-Fi, because in that locations, at 60 and 70 meters out of my house, I did not see my Wi-Fi. But I did see the tube, the Halo. So it was better, but not what I expected. So I did another test. That was my feeling back then. So I did another test. So I mounted my tripod with the tube, and I put it in the street. This street was 2 kilometers long, so I was expecting if I can do that, I will do a good job. And then I drove with my bike and my laptop. It was hilarious, but not as easy. So I was driving down the street while doing constant ping and speed test, iPerf test to my AP, and testing how far can I go. Now it was an open area, so you see there's a street. There were cars, but so actually I could now go up to 920 meters, and that's the point where my client is associated from the AP. So 920 meters away from my AP, I could have communication. I could have a constant ping running. So I think 900 meters is pretty okay to communicate. That being said, It's not nothing similar according to LoRa or something. So it doesn't have the range of LoRa one. But still, 900 meters, I think it's a pretty good distance. So my question now, if I send out a signal 900 meters wide from where I am, and it is it's IEEE, it's a Wi-Fi standard, what is the danger for me? Because the problem here is it Wi-Fi, Halo, or it's IP. You're using IP, so we have vulnerabilities in 1.5 gigahertz. We know that. I have extended coverage, so I can reach 900 meters. So if you're going to snip or you're going to do man in the middle somewhere, and you know the WPA2 key or something, yeah. And if you don't have decent routing or you don't have decent segmentation, they might break into your core network. So that's not what you like. Legacy products like LoRa or something, if you connect to the sensor, or you're only doing IP towards the gateway, not to the sensor itself. So that's a problem. That's the hard part with Halo, because it's all IP from end to end. So we need the proper security to protect our network against bad people. So what we can do using the AP. This is now the Silex version. We can use WPA3 because it's built upon 11AC. It's built upon Wi-Fi 5. So we can configure WPA3 SE. So if you're capable of capturing frames from Halo AP, probably you're not going to see much, or a lot of it is encrypted. So if you look for action frames, or you cannot do the authentication because it's encrypted. Even if you want to provide network authentication, I think that's something you probably want to do, because you want to be sure, is this the network I'm willing to connect with? Is this the EP? That's mine. So you can do WPA3 Enterprise. So, and once you do WPA3 Enterprise, I think you can assure this is my network, this is pretty secure. Now, it's just frames, right? So what I did, I've used two of them. I've used one of the EP and one is the client. And I've captured this using a Raspberry Pi. So you can see, I see the probe response. I see beacons. I see authentication frames. I see association frames. I see everything that's common for us to see in regular Wi-Fi, 2.4 and 5 gig. Not with the same frame size, but with other channel widths, but it looks very familiar. So we know this. It's not a technology, but we know this. Actually, the four-way handshake, for instance, is exactly the same channel of exactly the same size as a regular Wi-Fi authentication. So also log ACK, request and response is all there because it's regular Wi-Fi. We don't use it too much yet, but it's there. I have been writing a blog about this where I looked into beacons and looked into all this association. It's very similar to what we know. So if you capture this and analyze this, it's going to make sense. But what about this data rates? Because, yeah, like other technology, like Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi 6, we can have up to 6 gigabit of data rates. What about Halo? So in this case, this is the MCS table for a 16 megahertz wide channel with 4 spatial streams. So I could get up to 346 megabit of data rate. Pretty cool, right? But it's IoT, so it's battery powered, probably. Are you going to use 4 spatial stream clients? Don't think so. So you're going to have MCS 0 to 9. You're going to have 256 QAM, just as we have with 11 AC. And channels and so on and so on.
Will you use the 16 megahertz channels?
I haven't seen it. And I think depending on the width we have available, I don't think you're going to see that. But you can. It's allowed. So that's why 160 megahertz wide channel, you can do it. But it's a good idea to do that.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. So you can do it. But if you look at this data rates, now I don't expect anyone to learn the MCS index by head. But if you look at these data rates, you might see something funny. Because these data rates are exactly 1/10 of the data rates of AC. So if you're going to check the 160 megahertz wide channel, and you're going to check the data rates, you're going to see it's exactly 1/10. So what's the reason behind this? With Halo, we use a simple duration of 40 microseconds, while with regular Wi-Fi, we use 4 microseconds, simple duration. So all data rates we see here is exactly 1/10 of what we see with regular Wi-Fi. So this is the MCS index for 1 megahertz and 1 spatial stream clients. So probably this is what we're going to see more common in our packet capture in practice compared to the 16 megahertz and 4 spatial streams, I guess. What do you notice here? There's one MCS index more, which is MCS 10. It's not there in 2, 4, 8, and 16 megahertz, only here with 1 megahertz wide channels. So, and it has a coding which is 1 on 4. So for each data bit, we send 4 bits out. So they introduced reliability to make sure those frames arrive at your destination. Basically, these MCS 10 is used for management frames. So all management frames, and if I revert back here, you see the probe response, probe request, association, authentication frames, it's all using MCS 10. With all 1 megahertz wide channel. So the MCS 10 is only used for management frames. And for all other MCSs, we use other values. So up to MCS 9. Now the one thing I was looking for when it got my interest after the WLBC repeater, target wait time, right? That was the general idea for my investigation into Halo. And you should be able to see raw restricted access window, which is you can have up to 8,192 clients stations per each AP. So how are they going to manage that? So they can use restricted access window. So they're going to group clients stations, and they're going to grant access to the medium one by one. So group 1, first 1,000 stations, for instance, can do it, and then the other 1,000, and then so on and so on. So they're not going to get then all 8,000 at the same time to the medium. So they're going to group that. There should be an element in the beacons, which is a raw or an RPS information element. I did not find that yet. So too bad, I didn't find it. Also, the target wait time, we know that the AP is going to schedule our stations to allow access to the medium. Yeah, I did not find it either. And I hope till by the end of this year, mainly October, when it's again WLPC, I hope to do a capture so I can show this and then do another presentation about Halo with more information there. So what I learned from this, Because I think I was talking to Raymond in Phoenix, and I said, okay, I want to compare Halo against LoRa, but there's no meaning because LoRa has a way bigger coverage and less data rate. There is no one size fits all technology. You use Halo because it has a good data rate, but you can have a maximum of about 1 kilometer. In my case, 900 meters. So probably there's a use case for each technology to exist. So the Halo is not the golden egg or something. It has a reason of existence, maybe in bigger environments like warehouses or something to monitor, but it's not and that's a recap. So we can have WPA3, we can have better coverage compared to Wi-Fi. We can do energy efficiency. However, I did not capture it, so I just believe it's there. High data rates, we can have up to 46 megabit, but until now, probably going to have a maximum of 15 megabit data rate. We can have WPA3 security, so we can make sure we have network authentication, we have SAE, so we can have a decent security for our network. We can have a high capacity and it's flexible. We know this, it's just frames, right? So to close off, this is what I was testing. Until now, I've only been able to test with developer kits. On the market now, I have this SeamTech, I have this Halo from Alpha Networks. I have no real finished product. So I haven't been able to use a finished product yet. However, you do see like Morse Micro, they partnered with Shikoni. So they're building security cameras built on the real standard 11AH. So they're building a real product. Also, because I was looking for this device, so like a sensor. I wanted to have a sensor, but I could not find one. Now, recently I saw DeviceWorks is building a sensor for gas and humidity and temperature on Halo. I've seen it working, so it's on the market, it's a sensor. It's still a small company, but they have a solution for that. And now recently, so also ASCII, they were starting doing smart city deployments, smart city applications, rather new, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's still rather new, but you see companies adopting and jumping into Halo. So I think there's a use case for it, but it's not the holy grail. And so we can use it in certain environments. Okay, that's it for me. So you'll see more coming online. Yes?
Do you know if there's a mainstream chipset already supporting this?
No. No. The only two companies building this is Morse Micro and they're building their own system on chip application. So there's no other companies that I'm aware of.
I know there's collision avoidance within Halo.
Yes.
But is there some kind of shared spectrum? Because there are protocols like LoRa using the same spectrum.
Yeah.
Does that take into account to listening to different ways to share fair share of the spectrum usage?
It's following. It's following the shared spectrum, and I've seen there was because I was looking at the Belgian BIPT, Belgian for telecom communications, and they said if they're gonna have a 10% duty cycle, they would back off. So there was some kind of communication, but I did not have enough equipment to test this high, because otherwise I have to buy 8,000 of those guys. Have to win the lottery first. So they're doing collision avoidance, but the threshold, apparently they say some kind of a 10% duty cycle, but yeah, it's still, it's still, but what I found out is still pretty new for this standard, because with my demo equipment, a lot of frames I captured were using the frames, but they use also sometimes reserved values, fields that are not there, or they were there, but they were not documented, and it's still pretty early for the standard, but you see it coming. So they're doing collision avoidance, but yeah, I could not generate enough traffic to see it actually happen. So I need more of those guys. Okay. Okay, thank you.